What's up, guys? So, I wanted to make a video on this. I seen this article posted in a very horrendous Facebook group, as there tends to be a lot of horrendous Facebook groups. Um, this one in particular is very bad. It's called Dads Who Lift. If anybody wants to go join up and see some shenanigans. So anyway, I saw this article shared that was, how to spot a fake natty or something like that. Again, you guys know how I feel about these things. It's stupid. If somebody's cheating in competitions, hey, they suck. They're terrible people. But this natty or not thing, it's people try to put arbitrary numbers to it, and that's exactly what this article did. In a couple different spots. There's one part of the article, it talks about FFMI, which is stupid because they set this number at 25. So it's like, hey, 25.1, you're on gear. 24.9, you're a natty. Dumb. Also, what I want to address here, though, and this goes where I've talked about before, about these studies that people like to cite, and they cite them for the results and the abstract part and what they say, but they don't look at the details. It'll just say, like, this one is about what is it, the effects of supraphysiologic doses of testosterone on muscle size and strength in normal men. And in this study, they compare. They have four groups, basically. We're going to kind of focus on two of them. But they have two groups who do not do exercise at all. One gets placebo, one gets testosterone. They take before and after numbers. And then they have two groups that do exercise, and they use the bench press and the squat here. And they compare, starting their baseline and where they end up. And the group that exercises with the placebo and the group that exercises with the testosterone. Now, what's being portrayed in the article where this link is, or this study is published with, is showing how much more strength people can gain on gear versus not, which common sense is going to tell you you're going to gain more strength, with testosterone being provided to you than without. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. However, when they put it in the study to kind of emphasize that point, it's it's fucking terrible. So if you look at the details, they take well-trained people, like always. So the first thing I want to pick out is the baseline. So the non-exercise group that they put on tests, their baseline bench press is 96 kilos. Okay, we're talking under 2 plates. The exercise group, their baseline is 97 kilos, also under 2 plates. The baseline placebo group is 109 kilos. Like, what the fuck? So they're, over 2 plates. This is from the group they're being directly compared to, that's a 12 kilogram difference. That's 25, 26 pounds, something like that. So you're already starting off apples to oranges. Like, there's a 26 pound difference in these groups. You have two groups that have nearly an identical baseline. Why would you not put those two together to see who gains the fastest? Okay, so the bench press, the guys on placebo went from, and I think this is 10 weeks, they went from 109 kilogram average to 119 kilogram average. So they put on 10 kilos on average on their bench press, 22 pounds, which that's good over 10 weeks. And then the testosterone group went from 97 kilos to also 119 kilos. So they're closer to 20 kilos, 40 pounds, 44 pounds. But they had more room to grow. The law of diminishing returns, obviously states that, the more you do, the less potential you have, the stronger you get. So you're starting a group that's already stronger than this other group. Placebo group already has a 12 kilo advantage. I would imagine if you put the two groups against each other and made it placebo versus placebo, the group that started at 97 kilos is still going to gain more. Maybe they're not going to end up at 119 kilos, but this study was about who is going to gain the most in X amount of time. And that's the way the article cited it. It said the group that was on testosterone added 132 pounds in total to their squat and bench with the aid of testosterone. But again, they're starting them at significantly different weights. And if you thought the bench press was bad, the squats, okay, the no exercise testosterone group starts at 103 kilos. Yep. The placebo no exercise group starts at 102 kilos. The exercise testosterone group starts at 102 kilos. The placebo exercise group starts at 126 kilos. Again, we're talking over a 20 kilo difference here. The group they're being directly compared against, that's 24 kilos. That's over 50 pounds difference. All right. And, the testosterone exercise group went from 102 to 140 average kilos in 10 weeks. And the placebo group went from 126 to 151. So again, they gained more over the 10 weeks, but they started significantly lighter. And they still ended up with a lower, squat overall than the Natty Boys. So it's just really, don't take every study at face value. Don't let somebody just show you a headline of a study, just the abstract part of it. We found that, giving people testosterone and letting them exercise, they gained on average more strength than those who had the placebo. But you're starting at such vast different numbers. You're taking, well-trained individuals who are squatting, barely over 2 plates and benching under 2 plates. They're not, are they well-trained individuals? And again, you had opportunity here within this study to make it a more apples-to-apples comparison. You had groups who had similar starting points, if you will, but you did not directly compare those to each other, which, science is supposed to be objective, and you're supposed to, have things as close as possible. And, you're starting with over a 20 kilo difference, average baseline. You can't conclude that your findings are cement and concrete when, again, it's apples to oranges. You have this group squatting already 50 pounds more than this group. There's way more potential for the group squatting 50 pounds less to add weight. So, again, I happened to see this shared in a group. Somebody was trying to argue about something stupid and talk about, I called it clickbait, because it was clickbait. Most all the natty or not shit's clickbait. And he was like, oh, but there's science in this. That's not clickbait, that's science. And I pointed out the science was flawed, and, he was, what's flawed about it? And again, simple click and looking at the details, not just looking at the headlines or the outline, etc. If you go into it, all of these things list their variables, their controls, the subjects used, and all that stuff. And it just, frankly, it's not a good comparison in there. So that's what I want to tell you. I've been guilty of not looking deep into these things as well. The longer I've done this, the longer I've trained, the longer I've talked to other people that have trained, the more I educate myself. By the way, if you see anything by Tudor Bumpa, just go ahead and buy it. I got this for $5 off Amazon when I was looking at some other stuff. Of course, this one was like $90, and it showed up in that serious strength training showed up and recommended, and it was only $5, so I put it in there. But yeah, be vigilant. Read books, read studies, but really read the studies if you're going to use it to cite as some sort of authority or something to convince others in your debate/argument. Make sure you know what's actually in the study in detail, not just parroting the headlines.